Go on, say it with me. Another bright new week, 4 more discussion topics selected by you, a whole new conversation. Welcome back to 360 Speedway. Hello and a warm welcome back to 360 Speedway HQ. Sit yourself down for another full-blown, full-on and fully enjoyable, hopefully, episode. Episode 13 already, lucky for some. Derek Smith here, welcoming you back. Thank you very much for picking up last week's episode. Do remember each week we split our episodes into 4 parts, into little bite-sized chunks, so please make sure that you watch all 4 parts of any given episode. Otherwise you're going to miss out. Remember to... It takes seconds. Just routinely get into the habit, please, of hitting a thumbs up on YouTube or on social media, and even better if you took 30 seconds to type a little comment to us. Thank you, much appreciated, one and all. Another new week then, another new discussion as voted for by you, another fresh-faced lineup to tackle this week's discussion topics. Let's introduce them to you right now, if I can hit the right buttons. So first up, the man who provides more true grit, I should say, than John Wayne. Hey up, Nigel. Welcome back, Nigel Crabtree.
Hey up, Derek. You all right?
Very good, thanks, Nigel. Next up, the rinky-dinky Pink Panther himself. One of these weeks I'm going to sing that rather than just say it out loud. Mr. Peterborough Speedway, Carol Johnson.
Evening, Derek.
And completing the lineup and completing tonight's Handlebar Heroes lineup, it's Robbo. Robbo's back in the hot seat, ready to be grilled and take on some difficult Speedway topics. Stuart, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to have you back, Stuart. Okay, then let's get underway without further ado. Episode 13, lucky for some, very lucky for us actually, because we've lined up another rider interview, as we've now done over the last 3 or 4 episodes, for a bit of a catch-up and a bit of a chat. And this week, luckily, we've managed to get a sit-down chat with a man who has been making a lot of news in the last couple of weeks, most of it positive, and delighted to bring on screen and give a 360 Speedway grilling to Mr. Ben Barker. Ben, welcome to 360 Speedway. Ben, as I said, making a lot of news recently, so you joined Birmingham. We'll talk about that in just a minute or two, but more concerningly, of course, you're currently sidelined, although not with a Speedway injury, Ben. You've come through a bit of an emergency appendix situation, right? How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm in a lot of pain. As you can imagine, the surgery went well, which is a positive thing. Just now about the road to recovery to being able to get back on the bike.
It's got to be super frustrating, Ben. You know, you race speedway bikes for a living or part of a living, or maybe even for enjoyment, Ben. And obviously that comes with risks. And you've already had a few injuries already this season, and just when you get yourself back into the saddle, back into action, a Premiership team berth, and this happens to you, that must be extra frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, injuries come with the sport we do, we know that, but it's nothing worth being sidelined by a non-speedway injury. You know, it is very frustrating, but like I say, I'm treating it as a speedway injury, and I'm doing what I can to get it healed up and be back on the bike as quick as possible.
And talking about getting back on a bike as quick as possible, I was reading with interest this week that you're going to oxygenate yourself, for want of a better expression. Tell us a little bit more about that process.
Yeah, so I'm going in the hyperbaric chamber, it was truly for the bends, when divers got the bends, and it kind of helped with recovery. And it was treated for MS and different injuries. And I've had it for a lot of bone injuries and different things. And I spoke to a few specialists, and they said that they think it'll help this. So we're in there, and we're doing it every day. It's not cheap, but it's one of the things I want to do because I want to get back.
Excellent, Ben. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're coming towards a flurry of fixtures in the Championship and the Premiership. So I can totally understand that you and your teams will want you back in the saddle for those. Let's talk a little bit more about Speedway then. So let's start with Plymouth, if you don't mind. A few. Easy for me to say as a Glasgow supporter, Ben. Right? You know who I am and where my loyalties lie. But a few setbacks could I suggest for the Gladiators at home this season, but still plenty of time, right, to try and make amends for that and fight away into a top 4 finish.
I thought you supported the best team in Scotland, Edinburgh.
No, Ben, no, behave.
No, I mean, yeah, we've had a few setbacks, but it's just one of them things, isn't it? It's just the way it's gone. It's Speedway, as they say, but we've made a couple of made a change recently, which hopefully is a positive change, and we can just look to the second half of the season now.
I was going to say, the Plymouth side this year, right from the off, kind of intrigued me. They made a lot of team changes, introduced Lasse Fredriksson, and Alfie Botel's a bit of a mainstay down there, of course. But Nikolai Clint, to kind of spearhead the team, and we all know what Nikolai is capable of. An interesting team, and to your point, Ben, even in the last 7 days or so, Mark has stepped into the transfer market and brought in the young lad from the Czech Republic, whose name escapes me. Is it Daniel? I've forgotten his name already.
Daniel Klima. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go last Saturday because I was still in hospital, but what I've heard, it was good. He made a good debut. We're lacking in a couple of different places in the team, and reserve was one of them. Mark has rolled a dice, and we'll see how it works out. Yeah,
guys, Nigel, Carol, Robbo, Plymouth to me is an interesting venue. The track is what it is. It's challenging, given its physicality, etc. But in terms of the stadium, the fabric of the stadium, the facilities they've got there, and the vibrant support that they have, it was a pleasure, Ben, when the Gladiators were at Glasgow a few weeks back. I spent some time talking to some Gladiators fans who'd made the long trip, and they were really fanatical about the Speedway down in Devon.
Yeah, we got a great little following as a very small club, and they don't have a lot going on in Devon, so Speedway is a good thing. So, it's working the right way. It's one club that I think Mark is working really hard down there, and every year he takes a step in the right direction, and he's always got Speedway at heart, not his pocket. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. Robbo, what's your recollections, memories of getting around Plymouth? I mean the track, not the town, obviously.
I loved it. No, I loved the track. I loved it down there because I prefer to ride the bike on a small track. A big track, you just open the throttle and tip back. The small tracks, especially when I remember the first time I ever went there, it was quite bumpy and wavy, especially coming into turn 3, and you'd be bouncing as you came into the corner, and by the time you got to the middle of the corner, it could have messed you up if you weren't careful. But there was no rest around that track at all. You were absolutely full on for the 55 seconds or however long it takes to get 4 laps around there. And I remember coming back in because I think I came back from injury and it was my first meeting back after a couple of weeks off, and it killed me. Absolutely killed me. It's, the fitness I'd lost in a few weeks was unbelievable, and that was the wrong track to go back to as the first one back. But I loved it.
Very good. Carol, do you have any recollection of taking your Panther side down to Plymouth?
Yeah, to be fair, I think it's a cracking little place. And the first time I went down there, I sort of walked into the pit area. We parked up and walked into the pits, and I'm sort of looking and thought, well, where's the senior track? It's like, because it was so small, and it's like, where's the rest of it? But I couldn't believe how quick it was. And one person who surprised me around there was Ulrich. Ulrich was so fast around the place. It was like, and the speeds, it's not one of these, like you get an Ipswich, you shut off going into the corner. It's it's one of them. You can you can full gas it round there if you got the right setups. And it was just so fast, and I couldn't believe how quick they was round there. I thought, and it shocked me, but I thought it was, fantastic little place, and I've always got good memories. I don't think we ever lost there, which was a good thing. But the place is perfect, and and I think probably like for Ben being there now, it probably suits the way he rides. You have to be quite aggressive there, which obviously Ben's quite aggressive when he rides. So I think that sort of track would suit him perfectly.
Crabby, any regrets, Crabby, that you never got to ride around Plymouth? I don't know if you've seen it physically or in person, Nigel, have you?
The only time I've seen it is when I went over the flyover at the side of it, and I looked down and I saw it was down there. I didn't even know where it was. But no, I think I would have liked it. Like Stuart says, I preferred the smaller ones to the big ones, so I think I'd have liked it there. But I'm sure it must be pretty exciting there, because with it being so small, such a short run to the first corner from the start, very intense, very close action. And some of the lads, I don't know, some maybe don't like it because of that reason. They like to have the space there and what have you. So I would have thought Plymouth had a little bit of home advantage because of that.
Thanks, Nigel. Ben, talking about the Plymouth track, there were some winter changes, right? From memory, did they create some banking? Was that the objective, third and fourth bends?
No, that was the year before. They'd done the banking the year before, and then last year they widened it by 2 meters in the back straight, and it just changed the whole thing of the track, really. It changed totally how you exit bend 1, exit bend 2, and how you enter bend 3, which then you build up so much more speed, and it's a really fun place to ride now.
Ben, let's turn attention to the Premiership. So in recent last week, I think it was, you were announced that you were returning to Birmingham, and I've read some of your comments, in the Speedway Star and social media, and how much that how much fondness you have for all things Birmingham and the supporters and the management team there. Is it a genuine pleasure, Ben, to pull on the Brummie's race jacket once again?
Of course, it's. I was there when they were up on the high times and everything was going great. But also it's going to be an honour to bring the curtain down there as well, because I always said I wanted to do one more year there, and Nigel Tully and Chris Adams have given me the opportunity to go and do that, and I'm forever grateful of that.
It's obviously regretful, as you've alluded to already, Ben. The wider circumstances around the club and the future, etc., is obviously a huge blow to everyone involved with Birmingham Speedway. But to your point, if you can play a role in their last hurrah and give the supporters something to remember you by and remember the Brummies by, then that's job done for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, when the chance come, I nearly signed there in the winter to go there to start in March. But for one reason or another, it didn't quite happen. They didn't quite sign the top end rider that they needed to give them the room for me at the bottom. So it didn't quite happen, and it didn't. And then the opportunity arose, and I was like, "Let's do it. Let's have a go." And I'll be honest, it's not about the money.
Yeah.
I'm at the stage of career where I'm enjoying riding my bike, and one day I won't be able to do it. So yeah. I just got to enjoy every minute while I can, and I am.
No, that's great to hear, Ben. And I wonder if I could ask you. We all know what Ben Barker's capable of, and I'm going to say this out loud, and it's been recorded now, Ben. Right? All day long, I would have Ben Barker in my team. Right? In my 1-7 somewhere, Ben Barker's name would be one of the first ones that I would always write down. But has it irked you a little bit, frustrated you a little bit that there wasn't a Premiership place for you up until this point?
Yeah, I mean, but it has. But at the end of the day, I'll be down to my form, and it'll be me kind of focusing not enough on the racing and things. But I've got a lot of things going on in my life right now, but we are putting a lot more time and effort into the Speedway, and that's why I've took on this second position in the team, and we just want to enjoy it while I am, and that's it, really.
I always like your attitude to Speedway, Ben, to Speedway and to life. To be honest, you're one of these guys who I think you know what's good in the world and what's good in your world, and you kind of embrace that. One thing you were telling me, I hope you don't mind me mentioning it, but away from Speedway, one of your sons, your 9-year-old son, has had a bit of success recently in the world of football. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Bradley, there's the one who was really poorly when I was up at Glasgow, actually. So he's really come through the battles, and he's battled hard, always had a love of football, always played defence in midfield, and kind of got through in goal at the deep end. When his grassroots team lost their goalkeeper, and never looked back, and now he's signed up for Southampton's academy.
Good for Bradley. Well done, Bradley. Southampton, no less. Southampton play in red and white, Ben. You always look quite good in red and white, if you don't mind me saying.
I loved my time at Glasgow as well, and it was short-lived, but it's quite funny actually how that come about. But that's for another day, and I get on really well with everyone up there, as you know I do. So no, it's a great club.
We've seen you a couple of times already this season at Glasgow, and we thoroughly enjoy seeing you out on track. Ideally, in riding for Glasgow rather than against us, Ben. In Ben Barker's own words, at this stage of your career, etc., what level of ambition does Ben Barker still have in the sport of speedway?
Oh, I definitely want to get back to number one in the championship, because I feel I can do it. I just been messing around and not focusing, not putting enough money in my equipment, which we've totally took a U-turn on that this year. We've got new bikes, we just purchased a brand new engine from Poland. Things are looking a bit better now. I was just struggling, and I think a lot of it was mentally as well. Just not believing in myself, and that's a stupid thing, because I know I've got the ability, but I've kind of threw that mental thought out of the way now, and I'm like, let's just go out there and do it. Just show everyone what I can do. Yeah,
totally, Ben. Totally. And can I ask Ben Barker's opinion on something else? We're heading fast towards another close season for British Speedway, and there's lots of rumours and speculation, yada yada, right? But what's Ben Barker's view on the health state of British Speedway? Is there anything in particular, Ben, that you think that we should try to adopt for next season?
British Speedway's up the Swanee, isn't it? I'm beating around the mush, isn't it? It's up the Swanee. There's only one way I feel it can go, and listen, I love to see Jason Doyle, I love to see Emil Sarfucino, I love to see Jack Holt, I love to see these Brady Kurtz and Dan Bewley riding in this league. I love it. But can British Speedway afford it? Not really. I mean, I think you go one league, 5 or 6 man teams. Every team has to have a British under-21 rider at reserve, and give people races. Not let's have 3 weeks off in the middle of the summer. We've got to be Speedway riders. You've got to be riding your bike.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just believe we've got to have more meetings. Who realistically wants to go to Plymouth and watch Paul come there 3 times in one season?
Yeah.
It becomes repetitive. We don't want to see that. I believe go back and start over.
I like it, Ben. I like it. And if you have watched any 360 output in recent weeks, Nigel has been beating the drum, as is Carl and other guys, about back to basics, maybe a British first policy, and absolutely some more entertainment and more variety introduced to the
It's about saving British Speedway. It's not about keeping the European riders busy or the Australian riders busy. It's about saving British Speedway, and that's it.
Yep. Nigel, Carol, Stuart, any questions or comments for Mr. Barker?
No, I agree with what Ben said. He's got the ability, the talent. We've seen that. I've seen it firsthand. I think Ben's one of these. He's not just a speedway rider. People see, and this is what this is what people don't see. They see Ben Barker as the speedway rider. They don't see Ben Barker as the team man, the man that, like when he was riding for us, he would be the one that would be hanging over my shoulder going, put him in there, or put him in there, move him around, give me this heat. He's one of these that almost runs the speedway for you as well, which is good. Obviously, he can be a pain in the arse at times, but all speedway riders can. But our time together, I thought was, fantastic. And what better person, we always found out Chris Harris. Ben, like I've always said, and same as you, Derek, Ben would be in any of my teams simply because what he gives you.
Yeah.
That British grit, that true British grit. He wants to be a speedway rider. He wants to do well. He wants to earn money. He wants British Speedway to continue, and and that's what we need. We need that attitude. And for me, Ben's. I've always looked at him and thought, what a man to have in your team, and I'd rather have him with us than against us. That's for sure.
There you are, some lovely words from Carol Johnson, Ben Barker. So I know you didn't expect to come on here and receive so many compliments, Ben. But listen, you're a super guy, you're a good lad, and obviously you're pretty handy on a speedway bike. Listen, thank you for making some time to talk to us on 360 Speedway. We wish you a quick and full recovery, and look forward to seeing you back in action hopefully next week or two, Ben.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
All the best, Ben. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers, Ben. See you, Ben.